BetOnline is your number one source for all your summer sports this season. MLB, golf, NBA, NHL, all your playoff needs are handled in one place. BetOnline. Latest odds and lines, including the most up-to-date team matchups for all your favorite sports. It's all right there at BetOnline. Sit down and head to the website today to get in on the action, or use your mobile device. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Welcome to the Mikey Likes You podcast, a very special edition. Why is it very special? Because I'm doing it from my car. I don't want to do it from my car. I want to do it from a big fancy studio. I'm a big radio guy, and makes me feel like a loser. But then I tried to do it outdoors because it's a beautiful day, and it's so fucking windy that I couldn't actually do a show. Also, I saw Chael Sonnen, because he is now currently coaching on The Ultimate Fighter, has been doing his entire show via his cell phone direct-to-face kind of deal, sometimes from his car. And I said, if it's good enough for Chael, the king of West Lynn, it's good enough for me. By the way, West Lynn, Oregon, Mr. Sonnen, I believe Dwight Catherwood Sr. and Dwight Catherwood Jr., the original kings of West Lynn, Oregon. Nonetheless, I am in the middle of Project Single Digit, where Michael D. Catherwood is going to be single digit body fat. I am currently at 11.4%. I just got checked at DexaFit in Round Rock, Texas. Thank you so much to all the people over there. They gave me an amazing panel of all the cool stuff that's relevant to physical health and longevity, muscle mass, body fat, the whole thing. And I got some cool stuff to break down about, but in reality, look, it's Project Single Digit. I'm trying to remove body fat, so let's focus on that. I'm at 11.4%. I'm lower than I thought I was. And they did a couple tests to make sure that it was a accurate reading, and it is. Every form of body fat measurement has some variance to it. DEXA scans, especially the new DEXA scans, is the most accurate you can get. So I'm happy. I'm at least under 12, I can safely say. And that's good. I want to get to 9% at the very least. And this is what I'm going to do in order to achieve that. So I'm going to start this off by saying something that I said to a young man, a cameraman, an engineer at the filming of me getting my body fat tested. He said, "What are the best exercises I can do to get rid of my belly fat?" And I told him, table pushaways and fork put downs, because when you're talking about reduction of body fat, especially for men in the trunk and for women in like the booty and in the fupa area, diet is by far the most important thing. Of course, training plays a role, but it works synergistically with diet. If you don't have a focused diet, you have nothing, and you will not achieve what you're looking to achieve. So first and foremost, I'm going to focus on what I'm doing for my diet. I've already established how much I need to eat to maintain my body weight. It's one of the benefits that comes with kind of doing this year-round focus on my physique, because I am a narcissist. But I know exactly how much I need to eat to kind of maintain my body weight and just stay where I'm at. So I'm reducing that by 300 calories. I will be eating 2,100 calories in order to achieve body fat reduction. It is a 300 calorie reduction from 2,400, which is right around my maintenance from the lifestyle that I lead. Given my basal metabolic rate plus the amount of activity that I do, and then my kind of odds and ends of just daily activity, 2,400 calories day in and day out is right where I need to be to maintain my body weight. So if I reduce it slightly by 300 calories, I can chip away at my body fat without compromising my health, my muscle mass, my mood, and all that. I will be eating 195 grams of protein, and then the fat and the carbs is where I will fluctuate. Now, this is one of the best pieces of advice I think I can give you. Establish your calories for what your goal is. If you want to gain muscle mass, you want to have a slight surplus. If you want to reduce body fat, you want to have a slight deficit. Okay, we got that. I'm going with 2,100, that's a 300 calorie deficit for me. You can look to do the same. I established my calories, now I'm going to establish my protein. Most people do not need an exorbitant amount of protein. I feel that I do. for a couple reasons. I do carry a pretty high amount of muscle mass for someone who is 177 pounds. I am 11.4% body fat, as we established. So in comparison to Earth, that's pretty darn lean, especially for a 46-year-old guy. My protein synthesis and my needs for amino acids are higher than the average dude. So I am going above 1 gram per pound of body weight, and 190 grams seems to work for me because it's not so high that I am constantly creating every meal purely out of protein, but it's also not low enough that I start to deal with hunger problems or snacky feeling or any kind of problems when it comes to my training from a protein synthesis standpoint. Now, when we look to carbs and fat, that is where things are kind of open-ended. We just know that fat is a little bit over twice as calorically dense as protein and carbs is. So I'm opting to keep fat lower just from the frame of mind that if I take the thing that's 9 calories per gram and I lower that even slightly, it's going to make a much bigger impact on my overall caloric intake than lowering the stuff that's 4 calories per gram, which is carbs and protein. So I don't think that, especially someone like me who's 46 years old and very committed to his health, my hormone profile and my mood and my internal health is very important. So I don't want fat to be too low, like a pro bodybuilder or bikini pro or something like that. But I also don't see the need to go into this kind of carnivore, keto, modern, primal, like, let's just put fat in the ceiling. It doesn't matter as long as you're eating gluten-free, no seed oil nonsense. I've tried to find the middle ground, so I'm at about 65 to 70 grams of fat on an average basis. And then whatever's left over, I fill up with carbs. I like to keep carbs around my training, especially when I'm doing something really, really anaerobic, like jujitsu, like Muay Thai, like sprinting, things like that. Lifting weights for me doesn't seem to be as demanding from a glucose demand because, and this is going to transition perfectly into my next thing, training. I am training 3 times a week, full body essentially, with a little bit of focus each of the 3 days on different things. But I am getting head to toe kind of coverage when it comes to resistance training. But I'm lifting pretty heavy and in a moderate to low rep range. Why am I doing that? Because I am lowering my calories and lowering my carbs. I don't have as much available glucose to do the higher reps like you would if you're looking to put on muscle mass. When you're looking for pure hypertrophy, you want to be able to always access glucose so that you can get into those deeper rep ranges. And right now I'm dieting and I don't have that. What I do have is, especially since I'm going lower volume, which I do recommend for most people, I do have intensity at a limited rate. That's why I'm not training 5-6 days a week. I'm training with weights 3 days a week, and I'm going heavy and I'm going balls to the wall. I get in there for 45 minutes to an hour and I really push myself, and I'm keeping an eye on how heavy those weights are and how much I can do in that 3 to 6 rep range. And then I go home.
The other day, I'm at jujitsu. I'm doing hard rounds. Really sweaty. My man parts are grease that stink. Sure enough, I look at the clock and I'm like, oh no, I'm about 20 minutes behind schedule to go pick up my daughter from school. I'm going to see other parents. I'm going to see other kids. My daughter's going to be embarrassed. I'm going to be embarrassed. Luckily, I had the Mando starter pack in the back of my truck. I used some of the cream tube deodorant and some of the deodorant body wipes, and head to toe, I was smelling flowery fresh. No joke! And right now, there's no better time for you new customers to get a starter pack. Get yourself some of that stick deodorant, some of that cream tube deodorant that I used. Plus, you get 2 free products of your choice, like the body wash or like those deodorant wipes that I was using. Yeah, buddy. Use the code Mikey, M-I-K-E-Y. Get yourself free shipping and $5 off. That's an over 40% saving on the Mando starter pack, and you're getting the best of the best. ShopMando.com. Please support the show and let them know that I sent you. Use the promo code Mikey, ShopMando.com.
There are 3 other days throughout the week where I, on top of jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and other things that I do that are physical, that aren't in the gym training, there is sprint training that I do twice a week, and then there is one ruck or long distance kind of hike, kind of a very low level aerobic workout. So that's 6 workouts, 3 of them being in the gym weight workouts, 2 of them being sprint workouts, and then 1 of them being a long distance workout. And that is what I'm doing for Project Single Digit. That is how I'm trying to get ripped. And I'm gonna do it, people. I'm gonna do it. And the whole point of me talking to you about it and being so kind of confident is because I want you to do it. If you're interested, I don't expect everyone to want to be single digit. I'm not necessarily sure that's even a very good idea. What I do think, though, is that a lot of the fundamental tenets that I'm using are going to be useful for you, no matter if you're a man, no matter if you're a woman, no matter if you're old, no matter if you are young. Things like getting control of your calories first and foremost, getting control of the amount of protein next, then having fun or dealing with carbs and fat in the way that you find it appropriate and comfortable. Those are the energy cofactors. They create energy. Protein is looking to create muscle mass. It's looking to preserve muscle mass. It's the amino acids in it are doing other kind of construction work and resilience work with your connective tissue and your cardiac muscles. All the protein is doing good stuff. It's helping build. It's helping you keep anabolic internally. Fat is long sustained levels of energy, and carbs are going to be for quick bursts of high levels of energy. That's it. So you have to find out for your lifestyle what is best for you, a higher carb, lower fat approach or a higher fat, lower carb approach. I like to do middle of the road for both. And as long as I'm hitting my calories exactly where I want them and keeping my protein high, I don't really care day to day where they're at. That's my advice for you with diet. With training, always focus first and foremost on your ability to lift hard and heavy. Am I saying you have to lift heavy weights in comparison to me or comparison to someone who's actually strong, like a power lifter or an Olympic lifter? No, I mean lift heavy weights in the amount of resistance and tension that you're creating in the muscles that you're training is very high for you, to the point that you would be hitting failure around 6 reps, maybe even a little lower. I train very hard and very intensely, but I don't train all that frequently in comparison to a lot of like fitness professionals. I'm training 3 days a week in the gym lifting weights. I do think that even for high level professional athletes, when you talk about training very hard, that's about all you can do, especially for an old fuck like me who's 46 years old. That's a good transition into the next thing I want to talk about. When you're getting ripped, you're getting single digit in your teens and 20s, that can mean a lot of things. That could mean great genetics. That could mean an active lifestyle. It could mean just you're one of those people who early on got into performance-enhancing drugs. When you're 46 years old or older and you're getting ripped, it means one thing and one thing alone: extreme levels of discipline. Now, you may be saying, yeah, but what about drugs? What about... Sure, I'm taking testosterone. I am not taking other kind of performance-enhancing drugs. I take over-the-counter supplements, creatine, fish oil, blah, blah, blah. But I do take doctor-prescribed hormone replacement testosterone. I don't take a very high amount, but it doesn't really matter. Whether you're talking about Mike O'Hearn or The Rock or Mark Wahlberg or me or Frank Grillo, when you're getting into that older age, it doesn't matter how much fucking drugs you're taking. It literally doesn't matter. It takes extreme levels of commitment and discipline. Do drugs help? Of course. Of course. They help a lot sometimes. But when you're my age or older, it doesn't matter how much drugs you're taking. If you're an undisciplined person who is not training hard, who is not watching your diet, none of it matters. When you're in your 20s, that's the case. You could just be a genetic freak or take lots of drugs or both, and you're like, oh, I had cereal for dinner, and look at me, I'm shredded. Okay? But I just want to say that because those of you who are listening out there who are 22 and you're like, fuck it, I don't need to listen to this guy's advice. That's not true. Because if you were a genetic freak or if you already knew what you were doing with performance-enhancing drugs, you wouldn't really care what I was saying if you were 22 years old. If you're listening to this and you are in your late 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, and beyond, please, I don't care what you're thinking. First and foremost, it takes real discipline with your diet. Whether you're starting at 11.4% or 50%, it takes a lot of discipline and focus, and especially with your diet. So take that in consideration. Training 3 days a week, I'm lifting heavy, and the other 3 days that I'm training, I take 1 day completely off. I'm doing 2 sprint workouts and 1 long distance kind of aerobic low level workout. On top of that, because I'm a super active guy, and I'm not saying this is necessarily a good thing, I'm doing jujitsu, I'm doing Muay Thai, I'm doing other activities that are taxing my system, but I like to take that into consideration. Plus, it also just, I think, makes me a better guy. So there you go. In a nutshell, if you would like to follow along, please check out my Patreon. I will put a link in the show notes below. Also, I have the Apex program, which is the training program that I set up that is absolutely very similar, nuts and bolts, it's pretty much the exact program I'm using to get shredded. And that is available at Train Heroic. Also, I'll put a link in the profile. And then I'm going to continue with this series of Project Single Digit to keep giving you guys tips because I feel like it's useful and it's relatable regardless of where you're starting at, regardless of your age, regardless of your gender, and regardless of your goals. Everybody should want to get leaner and remove body fat. So few people need to just get bulky, need to just like, I have trained one person, I've hung out with one person who was just so, no matter what he ate, he was so skinny, he just needed to put in calories and just get jacked. Outside of that one dude that I knew and this one guy that I worked with, you have to be a professional bodybuilder or a linebacker or something where you're just like, I don't give a fuck, I need to put on muscle. Most of us, 99% of us, really need to worry about removing body fat. So you can take some of these fundamental tenets and apply it to your life. I love you in this crazy mixed up world that makes you think that nobody cares. Remember, I do. Be good.